All right, this is season 2, episode 9, The Gate.
Woo.
Are you ready, Robert?
I'm ready.
In 3, 2, 1, play.
The gang's all back together. A lot of people hated that we waited till the finale to reunite Eleven and Mike. I think that's fine. I just wish we gave Eleven better stuff in the middle.
It's fine. Just, I think the problem for me is this stuff is written like they're older than they are.
They've also gone through some very extreme circumstances that have I don't know.
Hopper. What are you doing, Hopper?
I love this scene with Hopper and Mike. And I mean, it makes sense that of everyone in that room, Mike's going to be the one who freaks out the most about this.
That's a good scene. I want to see these two interact more, except not the way that they do in season 3.
Some of that stuff's funny. I hope we're past all that for the final season. I'd like to see these characters get along more. And again, it tracks for me. Like Lucas and Dustin, they're excited to see her. They're happy to see her. But like Mike and Eleven had a lot more alone time. Like they were really attached. So this all tracks. So yeah, we haven't even talked about the payoff with Dustin's teeth. Like that's great. Check out these pearls. And even though I have a lot of issues with how they handle some of the romance stuff with them in 3, I'm at least glad we didn't do a stupid love triangle thing with Mike, 11, and Max. Like, I'm glad we didn't do that.
No, instead we've got Mike, 11, and Will.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
And I know I've seen a lot of people online that that's what they want to end up happening is 11 either dying or going off on her own, so that those two can end up together.
That's not happening.
Yeah,
That's
there's no way. Although I would kind of applaud it just because that would finally have the show would have some balls to do something like that.
Yeah, something controversial. And the thing with the 11 and Mike stuff, the reason why most of it works for me is like it's heightened emotions. They're kids, like fuck, like I've never met a kid who can move things with their mind. That would be freaking awesome. And yeah, I might become a bit obsessed with them because that's really cool. It's like so their love story, even though it's very basic and they do some silly cliche stuff with it, like it's still most of it tracks okay for me. Like what a lot of people get wrong about stuff like Romeo and Juliet is the point of that story isn't that, oh, these two, like their love is real and better than any love. Like it's like, no, these are teenagers with heightened emotions in a heightened extreme situation, and that's why they do what they end up doing. Are those two characters still together in 20 years if it works out? I don't know, but that's not the point of the story. And that's the same with Mike and 11. It's like these are extreme emotions and in extreme circumstances at a young age. But if the show ends with an epilogue time jump where like Mike and 11 are married or whatever, like that's a bit much. They don't need to do that. Like I don't buy that they're still going to be a couple forever. They could just be friends. Like that's fine.
Yeah, I don't need him bad mouthing Max because 11's missing.
He is projecting. Oh, look, here's setting up your favorite subplot.
I legitimately forgot what we were doing for a second. I was like, wait a minute, this is not where we left off.
With
Is this a different actress? She looks different.
No, it's the same actress.
That's crazy.
Yeah, her look changes a lot season to season.
Makeup is just magic. Like, that's just the only explanation I have.
And this scene is going for comedy. Like, it's fine.
Really weird.
It is weird. It only works for me if Billy is an older character. It's creepy because we've established that he's in high school. If he's in his 20s, this is better.
Although, funnily enough, this movie is kind of ahead of its time because we've had 2 of these kind of movies this year. The Anne Hathaway one, and then Nicole Kidman and Zac Efron just made one.
They did?
Yeah, it's a Netflix rom-com.
All right.
He like, plays, it's, so the story of that one, because it's hilarious, like Hallmark level writing, is he is, no. So the main character's boss is played by Zac Efron, who falls for her mother, Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, we'll do a watch party on that next.
No.
Yeah. And, like, again, I get what they're going for. Like, you know, she's a middle-aged, bored housewife. Her husband kind of sucks. Like, of course, she'd be tempted in a situation. It's just going for comedy. I don't need this to kick off a whole subplot.
I also don't mind it here because she's just being a bit of a perv. It's season 3 where it's like, okay. Where, like, she's going really to the pool far. Just to see him.
Mm-hmm. And again, and the awkwardness is obviously we as viewers are mostly aware that this guy's in his mid-20s. He is an adult. But then in the context of the show, it's like, how old is he supposed to be? Is he 17? Is he 19? Like, I don't know how old he's supposed to be.
Well, he's clearly a senior. What makes
it creepy. Yeah.
Because both him and Steve are not in school next season.
Yeah. That's just my whole point on that. It's like him being in high school is what makes it creepy. And I feel like to them it's not creepy because we don't even like talk about that in season 3. And obviously he's out of high school by that point, but still.
Okay, I've never had this thought here before, and you're going to disagree, and that's fine. It would have been okay if this is where we kill Will.
It could have tanked the show for me. I might have. I think that's too cynical for the show, and it's too much of season 1 is about getting him back, and if you're gonna undo that, it kind of ruins everything.
Okay, but like on the flip side, and some of this is, you know, after the fact. What's the point of keeping him alive? He doesn't do anything in the next 2 seasons.
Right. So again, there is some stuff with him in season 3 that I really like. The problem is less Will specifically and more we have 200 characters.
Which is why I say maybe you should have killed Will here. Like it wouldn't have undone the happy ending of season 1 to me. But it would have shown like you can't just escape from the upside down. Like there are consequences to being there.
This kid's had enough trauma.
No.
It also just would have completely changed the tone of this finale. I like how triumphant this finale
is. Here it is.
Yeah, this is when Steve tells the audience Nancy should be with Jonathan.
It's worse than that.
He gives Pennant.
I may be a pretty shitty boyfriend. What did he do that was shitty?
He left her at a party drunk. That was pretty shitty. And then he did color bullshit later. Like he did a couple shitty things.
I don't know. This scene plays it like it's all on him. and I that bothers me.
That's fair. Again, I think you could have flipped this. Because what they're thinking is, well, this is showing Steve's humility. Like, this is not trying to throw Steve under the bus. It's trying to show character growth and humility. But from our perspective, it's like, no, if it's more of just a breakup scene, like, hey, I still love you, but we're done. Like, you've decided that this isn't working, so we're done. They would think, oh, well, that makes Steve look too unlikable, and I would disagree.
But my problem is it's consistent. All this season, next season, and season 4 all act like he was the bad guy until she broke his heart.
Like I said, he did a few pretty shitty things.
He did one.
He did 2. We'll say 2.
But even then, with the one that I will agree with you on, it's her own fault for acting like a child and getting wasted.
Yeah, again, they're teenagers, and it's like, that's.
But the problem is
some advice.
But the problem is that she only acts like that when the script needs her to. The rest of the time, she acts like an adult.
Sometimes, and also, again, I'm not a big fan of Nancy. Yeah, she makes a lot of mistakes, and characters should be allowed to make mistakes, but she's just never been one of my favorite characters.
The good old MTV punk.
I do like this exchange a lot. I think they play it well. Like, I'm not mad, kid. I think that's a good line. I like that we at least talk about this, that she saw her. And he's like, a man's? Oh, God. This only works because it's the 80s, though. Like, people do this shit all the time. Yeah, and this is when Hopper, what he's trying to say is, I shouldn't have left you and gotten lost in a upside down under a pumpkin patch. That really took me out of commission for a day and a half.
It's just really funny how wrapped up you are on that.
I think that's the dumbest part.
No, we each have our thing. That's great. And like with me, I don't even care about Nancy that much. What pisses me off is I think it's, like I said, it's throwing Steve under the bus. They act like he was the best.
I don't think they're trying to throw Steve under the bus. What they're trying to do is show his humility and show his growth. Because that's why we love Steve.
I'm sorry, that's not humility. Your girlfriend cheats on you. You don't just say, "Oh, good, okay, it's okay. Go be with him."
Yeah, I still have issues with how they handle that. I've made that pretty clear.
We just watched season 4. At least that has good stuff.
I thought 3 was your favorite.
It is. 4's also got good stuff. And you get more of that Steve and Nancy dynamic that like is what I liked in the first season. Because every character in the show isn't good until they work with Steve. That's why Robin starts out with a bang.
That's true.
And I arguably like her more in 3 than I do 4.
I might agree with that.
I like her in 4. She gets lost in the shuffle in some places.
Yes, but I mean, like I said, Hopper's one of my favorite characters, and we rarely
get
poor
bastard
Steve stuff. He's great.
No, I just mean that whole Russian plot. It's so bad. No, I really like. I would really like to see them. Actually, funnily enough, my headcanon for Steve is that he does end up becoming the next Hopper.
That'd be cool.
Sheriff of Hawkins and all that.
Like I said, I'm 50-50. Either the show ends with Hopper and Joyce getting married, or they both die. I think it's going to be one of them.
What if they die and then get married?
They could do that.
That's unrealistic. If I ran away, I'd be dead.
Yeah, but she has mind powers.
He can still shoot her. But no, now that I think about it, I think it is more likely if any of the kids are on the chopping block, it might be 11.
Yeah.
Although you're probably going to disagree with this. We'll get to it season 3 or 4. I think it was a mistake to not kill Max.
It would have pissed me off if they did.
Okay, but I mean, come on. 11 being a Deus Ex Machina that could resurrect the dead.
She jumpstarts her heart. It's not that complicated.
Okay, but then all through season 5, I'm going to be asking, why isn't she doing that to anyone that dies?
Well, okay. This should be a conversation we save for later. No, the idea is Max is brain dead because Vecna has her. Like, she is... Like, 11 just jumpstarts her heart, which is why she's in a coma. But Vecna has Max's soul, essentially. And I'm sure a lot of season 5 is going to be trying to get Max back. That's what's going on.
Okay. Well, later. We're finally at the stuff that I like in this episode.
So, now this... We just saw them put the dead Demodog in the freezer for, like, science or whatever. Never mentioned again. Completely dropped. Whoops. Why doesn't that come up in season 3?
I kind of wish they put C with the rest of these kids in season 3. That's a no.
His comedic timing is so great. I love that, like, his calling is being a babysitter, but he's also kind of bad at it, and that's what makes him charming. Like, he can't control these kids.
No, but at the same time, what he is good at is actually just being there for him, for them.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's interesting in a way of it's kind of ending that cycle of abuse. Like, in one way or another, they all have kind of shitty home lives, and he's working to end that cycle. There's subtext there that I don't think the writers are smart enough to either understand or do anything with, but it's there.
this this is one of my favorite scenes in this is like a top tier Steve scene for me, when he just tells off Billy and then we look back and see the kids looking at the window. It's so good. My 13-year-old sister goes missing. And then she's here with you. And you lied to me? Steve's a good liar. He sells this, but the kids are gonna fuck it up.
Goddamn kids.
Then who is that? Did he see us? Oh, shit. The kids are 100% responsible for Steve getting beat up.
Yeah.
And, you know, as extreme as Billy is in the situation, and obviously a bad guy, I buy this this escalation because, you know, his 13-year-old sister went missing. He's at this weird guy's. She's with this weird guy Steve, and Steve just lied about it. Yeah, that's kind of sketchy from Billy's point of view, to be fair. But then when he attacks Lucas, that's when he goes too far. Yeah, Steve gets a hit in.
I kind of think Steve should have won this fight for the subtext of him overcoming his past.
I think it's fine. Well, but we also give Max a big moment. Again, I just buy that Steve loses this fight. Like I said, you just look at these two actors. Billy's winning this fight.
Steve's scrappy.
Also, if you have Steve win this fight, then we don't get one of my other favorite Steve scenes, so I'm fine with it.
What? Oh, that you want to fight?
No, we'll get to it. And this is a
Oh,
good payoff with the drug. Because what this does end with is Max standing up to Billy and ending like the abusive side of their relationship. So it's good for Max.
yeah, but my boy just exists to get beat up. Apparently,
they massacred my boy. He wins a fight in season 3.
okay, but like that's barely even a fight. Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think this is the last we see of the nail bat. Makes me sad.
Yeah.
But I also think, even though he's humiliated and very confused, I do think I think Billy does gain some respect for Max. Because in season 3, he just leaves her alone. Like, they just don't talk to each other. But I think there is a degree of respect he gets for Max from this situation.
Yeah.
You know, after this experience.
Okay, so I will meet you in the middle because the car scene, which is what I assume you're talking about, also has one of my favorite little moments that not a lot of people talk about.
Hey, buddy. So good.
But I don't know. He could have still won that fight and then but still gotten beaten up to the point where he like falls unconscious. He could have done that. I think the bigger problem is just that we dropped that like Steve and Billy comparison after this season.
We do.
Which is why maybe Billy should have stuck around and like continued to be that foil. Because ideally the foil would then become Jonathan, but they don't share any screen time together for the next 2 seasons.
I don't know. I like the Billy stuff a lot in season 3, and I like where it ends. But this is our big exorcism sequence. We got to do an exorcism
of Emily Rose.
Save Will. Mm-hmm. And then again, it's funny when this is criticized for being derivative of The Exorcist, and it's like, do you realize how many exorcism movies we've made? There's like 200 of them. Why is it a problem when this show does?
That's lowballing. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention in the Saw commentary though is what's cool with Jigsaw in that is when you down somebody, you can actually put the reverse bear trap on them, and they have to go around the map finding a thing that dislodges it, and it may or may not dislodge it.
Oh, use Dead by Daylight?
Yeah.
Or the game? Yeah. No, I've played that stuff on Dead by Daylight. It's really cool.
She was my main there for a bit. I suck at killer though.
Yeah, I'm usually Michael Myers. Like when I do plays killer.
The only time I
go to.
So I'm banned from playing Michael Myers because I would just play that in private sessions with friends. But in private lobbies, all of the perks are unlocked. I could get like immediate infinite tier 3 and just kill everyone one shot.
Oh, here we are.
Yeah, so I like this,
Let's
but
see.
there's a little moment here.
Hey, buddy.
Or maybe we missed it. But when he sees Mike, he thinks it's Nancy.
He's just said that.
I like that little moment.
That's a good touch.
He misses Nancy.
What's going on? I love the way that Dustin is talking like so comforting to him. He's really sincere.
And then we paid this off in season 4, where Max is like, I can drive. And he's like, no.
No. And Steve's freak out here is so good. Now we do the thing. We did it twice this season. When someone just shouts to turn and they just do this. It's like, no, slow down.
I think what you're missing is that Lucas just screamed like a little girl.
He did. Leave him alone. He's going through puberty. It's fine. And like I said, I'm glad we save Will, because if they don't, like, then this season ends on a completely different note.
Which I don't think is a bad thing. Get a little darker.
And we just killed Bob.
So we're only allowed to kill one character per season?
Yeah. I don't know. But again, I think you just want this to be a more nihilistic show than I do. At the end of the day, I see this like, yeah, there's horror elements, but I also see this as kind of a feel-good or bittersweet show. Like, I don't need it to go that nihilistic.
See, I don't think these first 2 seasons are that feel-good. Season 3 is where it really starts to embrace that like feel-good image.
Cheesy. I just think when you dedicate so much of a show to finding someone and then you kill them off, it makes a lot of it feel like a waste of time.
Have you seen The Walking Dead? No, and that's one of the other thing is I like that he takes this so seriously because he promised Nancy specifically.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like, say it with me, those characters make each other better.
We get it. You think it's the greatest love story that's ever been told.
Okay. That's an over. I don't know what the greatest love story ever told is. Probably Twilight, let's be real.
And I really like this Hopper 11 action sequence team up.
Yes, tell the girl with psychic powers to stay there while you have a gun that you know doesn't work.
I think that's just parental instinct.
Oh my god.
Still alive. My contract isn't over yet.
How
I'm
does
not
he
leaving this show.
How does he survive this? Let's see.
So I think wait.
Sorry.
I think the idea is he's attacked, but when he's attacked is when the Demodogs are called away.
Okay,
like,
but like those are severe wounds.
Well, yeah, but he'll still be injured later. I mean, remember, this has only been in the span of a couple hours.
Yeah, how long does it take for him to bleed out?
You'd be shocked what the human body is capable of withstanding.
I don't know, Robert. At some point, it's just plot armor because we need them later.
I think like this just happened. It's fine, dude. There are people who have survived like 50 stab wounds. Like it's possible.
Remember when they actually took precautions for the Upside Down?
Mm-hmm. This scene's great. I love this freak out from Dustin. Shit. Look on his face. I'm okay. Wait.
This is a set, right? Like, this isn't green screen.
Yeah, some of it's a set.
Okay. Because when they first walked in, I had a little uncanny green screen with it.
The definitely depends on the shot. It's probably a thing where I'm sure they built just like a couple tunnels and then would just reverse and just go in a circle, like they done in Star Wars. And like I said, this stuff's really brutal. Like it's really effective.
And that's what you were saying with nihilist. I don't need the show to be nihilistic, but it is realistic that at some point you do have to make the hard decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I just don't think they need to go here, at least not yet.
But I think my overall problem is that I can't separate from what comes later. They're not willing to
right.
do anything with that. This is the first place that you could have done it, and arguably maybe should have, since he's not going to contribute anything to the next two seasons.
Agree. I still don't agree because there's still a lot of Will stuff in season 3 I really like that we would have lost. It's just season 4 where they really let me down. And again, there's a couple of good scenes in season 4. Like there's one really good scene with him and Jonathan. Just I'm ready for them to pick it
up. But
up.
on the other side of that, if you do go to the difficult choice, now Jonathan has something else to do. Joyce has something else to do. All of the party have like dramatic meat to chew into.
But then that's also just like a dour cloud that hangs over these characters for the rest of the show, and then you don't get the fun stuff in 3. The stuff with Steve and Dustin doesn't work in 3 if Dustin's best friend just died. Like that stuff doesn't work. I also like agree that the show doesn't go as far as that the show does play it too safe overall. I'm not disagreeing with you there, but in this particular instance, I'm glad they didn't go there. Again, they still go really far with it. Like it's really brutal and pretty hard to watch. And I like the solution.
But like at what point are we supposed to finally make these threats real? Because part of the problem going into season 5 is I don't believe that any of these characters are in danger. They survive everything with no loss or consequences.
Yeah, but no, the start of season 3 does handle the Will stuff well. We just kind of forget about it. And again, like, the thing we've always known about this creature is it likes it cold. We're paying that off. They use fire to get it out of Will. Like, it's not a Deus Ex Machina. It's not cheap. It feels natural.
I mean, it's a little cheap as extreme as they're playing this, that he is not even if he's not dead, that like he is like 6 inches from death.
Now, the Mind Flayer stuff is a little confusing when we get to 3. It feels like 3 kind of retcons what's going on with this ending, at least a little bit. Also, since we're at the very end of the season, I guess this is a good time to get into the discussion about the Mind Flayer. Do you remember the fan theory that the Mind Flayer was gonna be like number 1, like the first one with powers and like
No,
has
because I
become
was
this
not
monster?
engaged. I was not engaged in with the fandom until season 4, and that was after it
Okay,
already came out.
okay, because I was kind of buying that theory for a while, and then what's funny is we kind of do that, except it's with Vecna. We end up creating a new character, and then to me, we kind of retcon what the Mind Flayer is, because in the context of the season, it seems like it's its own entity, and then in season 4, we established, oh, it's just a puppet of Vecna.
That's fine.
Which
That's traditional storytelling. You have a new big
hmm,
bad, and then when you introduce the next big bad, oh, the previous one was just working for them.
yeah. Well, the Mind Flayer is our big bad of season 2 and 3. I just feel like we do a little conning with like what it is.
Yeah, we definitely do. But I'm just fine with that because I've seen that.
I like the color in the sequence a lot.
Yeah, I will take that over this like hard to see blue.
Right. Like I said, I like the sequence with 11 and Hopper a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is a little confusing because now the Mind Flayer is back in the Upside Down. Um,
I
and then
think
in
it,
season,
I don't think it
oh,
was
go on.
ever outside of the upside down.
Well, it was in Will.
Yeah, but I don't think it was physically in Will. It's just like an essence was in him.
Okay, I can buy that. That kind of tracks. But then this season is gonna end looking like the Mind Flayer is trapped in the Upside Down again. And then in season 3, they say, well, no, part of him was actually out in the world, and like several months later, it starts doing stuff. Like it feels a little retcon. But look, it's
No, because
dark.
there's a cliffhanger shot.
Yeah, but isn't the cliffhanger shot the Mind Flayer in the Upside Down?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, we'll get to it. But look, it's Dart, our adorable Demodog. Missed opportunity. Dart could have been our pet sidekick for the rest of the show.
No,
He could
I'm
have been
good.
Dustin's Bobastus. Did you even get the reference? I just hey, who let the Canadian here?
We've come for your daughter, Chip.
Well, that's in the commentary now.
Yeah, killed that moment. You probably did. You even get the reference I just made?
No, I didn't hear what you said.
I said that the Demodog could have been Dustin's Bobastus for the show.
I don't know who that is.
Ozymandias' pet.
Oh, okay.
And then you could get great stuff like, oh no, Dustin, the Reds are opening the Upside Down. What are we gonna do? I'd like to see a talking Demodog on the show.
You just want this to be a Saturday morning cartoon.
Are you surprised they haven't made a Stranger Things like animated spinoff yet? With how much this is riffing on 80s stuff.
Yes, especially with all the work in animation Netflix has been doing.
Mm-hmm.
But don't worry, I'm sure that's one of the like 600 spin-offs they'll pump out.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I'm glad it's just this show. Like, I'm fine that we haven't had any spin-offs yet. I'm just saying it's weird because the amount of merchandise the show has produced is insane. So many books, comics, toys. Like, the amount of merchandise this show has spawned is insane.
I'm just saying, Robert, I'm not for the spin-offs. If they announce a Steve show, I'll watch it.
The only thing that would bum me about that is I just don't want Joe Keery stuck playing the... Like, I want to get him to get other cool things. You know, a lot of people...
I really wish he'd been Johnny Storm.
Joe Keery, or not Joe Keery.
So you agree with me?
Joseph Quinn. No, Joseph Quinn's a good pick. And a lot of people were really mad about what happened to Eddie, but it's like, Joseph Quinn's doing well. He's a good actor.
I'm not against it.
Joe Keery, there are other roles for him. I would rather DC get him than Marvel.
Oh, the Life of Chuck's letterbox page is up. I want to see it. Oh, reactions from Tiff are coming in, and it's good.
Oh, cool. Interesting. Do we have a date for that? Like, do we know when it's getting a wide release?
Tomorrow. Do you know how much I would freak out if it just hit Voodoo tomorrow? It looks like we do not. It premiered yesterday at the Toronto Film Festival.
Okay, gotcha. Like I said, this goes on a little too long, but it's a good climax.
I don't know.
Really,
70% of this is just her going.
Yeah, it's the music. The music does a lot, and the visuals are good. And I like Hopper's reaction. She gets to float in the air. That's kind of cool. And again, the CGI is good. The CGI isn't it. Like, imagine them trying to do this stuff with the Smallville budget 20 years ago. It would have looked so terrible.
I mean, I saw the last few seasons of Smallville.
But this is the first time we get to see Hopper really respect her and admire her. Like, he really looks like he's proud of her. Which I really appreciate. No, all the dogs are dying. Dart dying's a pretty big consequence. That's really sad. He lost his pet. And like I said, season 3 establishes that some of the mind flayers stayed in the world, and then, you know, which is fine because we do some cool stuff with it. That's just visually, that doesn't look like that's what happened here. It looked like the whole thing is in the Upside Down.
There was something that sets that up. I can't remember what the scene is. So earlier you said that like it's eventually the payoff for Jonathan and Nancy is them shutting down that base. Mm-hmm. Would it have been the fact that everyone in the base is dead?
The government would have just brought more people in, like they did with Matthew Modine. Now this is a public scandal.
I just don't have enough information to say that that's true. For all I know, the government just would have cut their losses anyway.
And like I said, I like that they're able to give Barb's parents closure. And again, this does change the status quo a bit. This is not the end of season 1 where Hopper has this deal, like there's still that shadow organization. Like, no, they're shut down for the time being. So I do appreciate the status quo change. And that Paul Reiser's character is around. And again, I get your point about plot armor, but we keep him around for a reason. He helps work up this identity for 11 and making this an official adoption. Like, this stuff's all really, again, a good status quo change. Like, she's not a secret anymore. Like, at least her powers are, but now she gets to be kind of a normal kid and be adopted by him. Like, this is good stuff.
This is very there's a Back to the Future reference.
I like this epilogue a lot.
That looks very Back to the Future.
Mm-hmm. The Snowball of 84.
I like this epilogue, but I feel really bad for Will and Dustin.
Yeah. And again, structurally, it's very similar to season 1. We end again with a Christmas epilogue. I was really hoping we'd get a whole just winter season, but I don't know if we're gonna do that for the final season, because the first 2 seasons are primarily fall. Season 3 is summer. Season 4 is spring.
Just from that one screenshot that we've seen, this one screen cap we've seen, that ain't happening.
Yeah,
I think I sent you that.
Yeah, I think you did. And then, earlier you were talking about the kids' ages. Like, how much of a time skip do you think we do?
If they're smart, if they're smart, at least 5 years. Just skip over high school for the kids.
Maybe 3 would be enough. I'm sure what they want to do, that's the obvious thing to do, would be ending with them graduating. Like, that's the obvious place to go.
Yeah.
So that would be about a 3-year jump.
4.
Well, I mean, they're at the end of their freshman year in season.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So yeah, it would be 3.
So a 3-year jump would put them at the end of their.
I guess that would fit thematically with. Well, it wouldn't fit thematically because the theme of this isn't high school as hell.
Right, like, it's not a high school show, really. But this payoff with Dustin is so good. With the Farrah Fawcett
I love this little moment with Steve that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as usual, he gets hung out to dry at the end of these seasons.
Like a lion. Don't do that.
Okay, but I do have a question, just because I never had this as a kid. Okay. Do they throw, like, dance parties for, I don't know, however old they are?
Yeah. Okay. I went to one when I was 13.
I never went to one. Love that little moment. And we won't pay it off for 2 seasons.
I really love the way we pay this off. Like these kids are just the worst. You can kill like most of the kids in this school, and I'm fine. They are awful. We had the Stephen King bullies in season 1. We had the kids bullying Will for being zombie boy. This school sucks. Let Vecna just wipe them all out. But I do like that with Dustin, like this doesn't immediately work out. There's no bird nesting in here. Like, I buy that they're making fun of him.
R.I.P. Dustin.
And like I said, I like the Lucas and Max pairing. We just don't rarely have anything interesting to do with it.
My problem is, yeah, like I don't like them in season 3, and then I don't like Lucas in 4.
Hey, look, a kid was nice to Will for once. It's a nice little win for Will.
Well, but it's also weird because she walks up and is like, "Hey, zombie boy, want to dance?"
I buy that. Kids are weird. And I like that. I like Dustin's overconfidence. It's like, dude, these girls aren't gonna say yes.
No, Dustin. Dustin.
It's so sad. It's so sad.
My really boy.
He's trying so hard. Shall we?
No, but I do like that Nancy kind of becomes the older sister to the group.
And it's a great... This is probably my favorite Nancy scene in the whole show. It's just a really sweet scene.
Well, this is payoff to that first season. She like says something like really mean to him.
Yeah, well, I think like pilot episode, one of the first things we established is that Dustin has a crush on Nancy. And it's something we rarely touch back on. Like, you know, that Dustin has a crush on Mike's older sister. Like, this is just a really sweet scene.
Mm.
And again, this kid is so good. Like, him crying here, it's very believable. It's not over the top. Because he's, like, really trying to hold it back. It's just such a good actor.
No, this is nice. My favorite Nancy stuff is in season 4.
She does get good stuff in 4. Like I said, the first 3 seasons I know really well. I've seen every season at least 3 times. 4 I've only gone through once. So 4 I have to go through again before we do our commentary, because that is by far the season that's like the least fresh in my mind.
Yeah. I might just wing it.
We'll see.
I know
the
like, stuff that I like in that show I know well enough, because that is the season. I'm almost ashamed to admit this, but that is the season I just go and watch like the clips, the stuff that I like.
But like this season, I haven't watched this show in a couple years, you know, until doing this commentary series with you. But like, even though it's been a couple years, I could just jump right into these first couple seasons just because I've seen it so many times. At least we get a payoff to this, because next season, Dustin's going to have a girlfriend. And no one believes it.
And I've seen people hate on that singing section. I like it in season 3.
It's fun.
Honestly, I wouldn't be opposed if season 5 had a musical episode.
That's too much of a risk for the show. It wouldn't do anything that weird.
But like, have you heard Joe Keery's band?
I haven't. I know he's in a band. I've never really
I'll
listened.
have to send. They're not bad.
That's what I've heard. I may have listened to one song. I think my friend shared one with me, and I was like,
And like Finn Wolfhard has musical training. Obviously the guy that plays Dustin does. You can do a Stranger Things musical. I'd watch that.
You could. Twitter would freak out. So many people would yell and be angry about it. How dare the show do something weird and interesting? I do like this Hopper and Joyce scene though a lot. It's very intimate and sincere. And again, the Hopper and Joyce stuff, maybe it's a little obnoxious at the end of 3 and into 4, but it's not like Clark and Lana bad. It's like this feels very organic. It wouldn't make sense for them to be dating at the start of 3. I mean, like Joyce needs time. She's not gonna immediately date. Like their stuff works.
That's what makes the stuff that I was complaining about during the season stand out more. Is like most of the other relationship stuff is done, if not basic, at least competent. Doesn't make me want to claw my eyes out.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the song Joyce you should have picked.
I like the song fine.
This is the Obsession song. Everybody but Steve gets their happy ending.
Yep. And like I said, I like a lot of where we start with these characters at the start of 3. It's just unfortunate that like by episode 2, it's like, okay, remember how we took like 2 seasons to get Mike and 11 back together? Well, now we're gonna do the breakup story, and they're gonna be broken up for like the rest of this.
That should have been like season 4.
Like that annoying. Yeah.
Where it's the distance to just put a strain on the.
Mm-hmm.
And like, would she even understand what she feels for him?
I think we remember. We're also paying off that like the scenes of like her watching television or watching movies. Yeah. Like she's watched like romance movies and stuff. Again, I wish we did more with that, like her learning about culture and stuff. But okay, so here is going to be our season 3 tease. That, as I recall, shows the Mind Flayer in the Upside Down.
You could be right. I legitimately don't remember. I just remember seeing something that's like, oh, this is there.
Yeah, this is there. A little tease.
Okay. Weird.
Yeah, it just feels a little retconny. Again, I think the explanation 3 is like, well, a piece of the Mind Flayer is in the real world, and that's what infects the rats and starts infecting people and stuff. But it doesn't play that way at the end of the season. It feels a lot of stuff like that just feels like we're kind of making it up as it goes along.
Oh no, Robert. Remember, the Russians open a new gate,
and then it gets out through that gate. Okay, if
because
that's the idea, then I just forgot that.
Yeah, because they open that prior to the events of season 2, so that is a little retconny, but not, I don't think, in a bad way.
Mm-hmm. But that was season 2.
Yeah,
we did it.
We did.
I don't think